Hello YouTube! This is my second video. Well, technically it's my third video. My second video is a trailer for my fanfiction Matters of Mate. If you want to know what that is about, go to my channel and there you'll find the video with the link in the description. So, during my first video, I said that I wouldn't do more videos if I didn't get any likes, but I'm as shameless as they come. So, here I am. And well, I realized that a YouTube following wouldn't grow up in one day, or in my case 2 months, if I don't get spontaneous and up my game like I did on Wattpad on my fanfictions. When I first started writing, well, I would get like 10 views in 1 week. Now I get 200 views in 1 day, and it's amazing the votes I get, the comments like what an awesome chapter and please update more, and those kinds of things are what encourages me, and I need that encouragement on YouTube. So please encourage me. Now the story that I'm going to read today is its name is Shadow Preacher. It's an originals and Teen Wolf crossover and a slash story, which means gay story, Boyxboy. If you don't like that kind of thing, don't watch that. It's as simple as that. And the pairing is Scott McCall and Klaus Michelson, and I love it because they're absolutely polar opposites. Klaus is cruel and manipulative, and Scott is good, and he's so good at heart that he'll do anything for his friends and family. And well, as they say, opposites attract. Now, on to the story. Alright, this is the prologue. As Niklaus Michelson slowly drove past the sign indicating that he reached Beacon Hills, he thought of the circumstances that led him to be here. The last few days had been hectic, what with the birth of Hope, Haley dying and coming back as a hybrid, rescuing Hope from those bloody witches who wanted her dead, giving Hope away to Rebecca for her own safety, and of course, the rotten cherry on the top of a horrible Sunday, finding out his mother was the one who ordered the murder of his child. Well, if you don't know what's going on here, it's the season 1 finale of the originals, where Klaus's former one-night stand gives birth to his child, then witches kidnap that child to kill her, and then a lot of things happen. Klaus gives Hope away to Rebecca, his child away to Rebecca, so for her own safety. Alright, again. Of course, they should have at least guessed it was her. She was the one who created the monsters that they were today, then acted as if it was their fault. They should have known she would come back to end what she started, one way or another. Like Elijah said, our mother would not be stopped by something as obvious as death. And Klaus agreed, because death was too obvious a thing to stop their mother, who was known for her magical prowess in her time. Sometimes he still had trouble believing Esther, their mother, turned out to be the monster that she was. He still remembered his mother, his sweet mother, who would heal his scraped knee, who would tuck him to bed and tell him bedtime stories, and who would face Michael's wrath to save him. Michael was their father. He hates them and he wants to kill them. You will know the reason why. Michael at least had a reason for how he treated him. At first, he was disappointed in Klaus that he did not turn out to be as strong as he believed him to be. And then, when he found out about his mother's infidelity, he was blinded by rage. A rage that lasted over a span of 1,000 years. But what excuse did Esther have? None. That's what. Well, in mother's infidelity, as in Klaus and only Klaus, is a bastard son. And he became a hybrid because of it. After everything that happened in New Orleans, he needed some time to himself. Even a 1,000 years old powerful creature like him needed respite now and then. So, as soon as he handed Hope to Rebecca, he hopped onto the same car he had brought Hope in and started a 32 hours drive from New Orleans, LA to Beacon Hills, CA, only stopping to grab a snack now and then. This I googled, and I don't know if it's right or not. Well, if it isn't right, well, this is a story, so what the hell. And the snack, it means blood, human blood. So, but since Klaus is a vampire, so obvio. Perks of being a vampire. Though they could sleep, they did not need it. He headed to Beacon Hills for two reasons. One, it was far, far away from New Orleans. Two, one of his very few friends lived there, Alan Deaton. Now, he was one hell of a man. The first time Klaus met the man, he was on the verge of killing him. Those of you who don't watch Teen Wolf, Alan Deaton is a vet, an animal doctor, and he is also the advisor to Scott's pack. And he is a overall badass character. I love him. About a decade ago, he had gone on an aimless road trip that brought him to Beacon Hills. There, some witch had managed to catch him off guard and tried to put a spell on him to make him so bloodthirsty he could feed his way through an entire town. Fortunately, he managed to kill the witch before she could complete the spell. Only vampires would consider killing fortunate. Unfortunately, some effects of the spell lingered. Somehow, hungry and weak, he managed to end up in an animal clinic made of mountain ash wood, where Alan Deaton found him. Well, mountain ash in Teen Wolf is the ash that keeps out supernatural creatures. Alan took him inside, fed him from his own wrist, as in blood from his own wrist, and nurtured him back to health, almost like a parent. When Klaus came back to consciousness, he had asked how he knew what he was. Alan had smiled. Your eyes are those of a wolf, and fangs are those of a vampire. There is only one person that fits that description in all the legends and rumors. Pleased to meet you, Mr. Klaus Michelson. It had amazed Klaus how easily Alan accepted what and who he was, especially as he was an emissary to a powerful werewolf pack. The man knew from the legends what the 1,000-year-old hybrid was capable of, yet he still seemed unfazed. The next few days, Alan had tended to him as he recovered, all the while hiding him from his pack. Klaus had asked why he did it, and he had not got the answer still. Anyway, Alan was one of the very few people who really cared about him, and sometimes he gave wise counsel. And honestly, he could use some counsel right about now, not the useless prattle about family Elijah throws about. Elijah, Klaus's big brother, is very, very big on family, and he always lectures, and I mean always lectures Klaus about it. Klaus was quite suddenly brought out of his musings by the sound of ambulance sirens and the smell of blood. For once in the last 30 hours, he actually paid attention to the road to see what was wrong. There, in the distance, a broken-down ambulance. Some people, including a small girl, were standing around it. As the people noticed his car approaching, they began signaling for him to stop. Normally, Klaus would ignore them and go on. After all, he was the evil hybrid. What business did he have helping some measly humans? He would have gone on this time too, had it not been the child's cries for help, which he could hear from his seat. He gritted his teeth. If there was anything that Klaus could not resist, it was a child's plea. Perhaps it was reminiscent of his childhood memories when he used to cry for his father to stop hurting him. Whatever it was, the hybrid could not help assisting children in need. It was why he had adopted Marcellus. Marcellus was a kid he adopted in the 18th century, and he has a very, very big role in the original series, and more about that later on. So for once in the last century, Klaus stopped the car and got out with the sole purpose of helping others. What happened? He asked as he approached the group. One of the medics answered. There was a 10-car pileup. We were rerouting through downtown, but the ambulance broke down. The small girl piped up. Please, mister, my dad is hurt. Please take him to the hospital. And with that pleading voice, Klaus's supposed ice-cold heart melted. He walked to the ambulance and opened the door. The delicious smell of blood hit him. For a fleeting moment, he wanted to rip the man's throat and drain him. The last meal he had was almost 12 hours ago, but he controlled himself. It was a good thing he had 1,000 years to perfect his control. Otherwise, he would have been feasting on the man's blood right now. He grabbed the man and put him over his shoulder. Quickly but carefully, he walked up to his car and opened the passenger door. After he set the man on the passenger seat, he turned towards the group. He addressed the child. Would you like to ride with your father? The child lightened up. Yes, mister. Well, come on then, he smiled. The child ran to the car and then looked up at him with questioning eyes. Klaus assumed she was asking where to sit. He smiled and opened the front door for her. When the child settled in, he got into the car. He nodded to the medics, indicating that he would ensure they reached the hospital safely. He started an ignition and quickly left for the hospital. Sorry, not an ignition, the ignition. He started the ignition and quickly left for the hospital, expecting nothing but a rather different evening with him helping another man. Little did Klaus know that his decision of helping a man would lead him to the one person that would change him and his life for the better. With that turn of the wheel of his car, the life of the hybrid took a turn as well. He just didn't know it yet. So, this plot is a plot from Dorelli Lucero on Wattpad, who made it on my request. She makes some mean plots and some mean stories. The link for this story will be given in the description below. If you want to read it, go there. And there were quite some mistakes when I was reading, so well, I am an amateur when it comes to YouTubing, and I am nervous, so please ignore those mistakes. And well, if you like this video, please give a thumbs up, and any kind of feedback would be really appreciated. So, and I will try to be more, like I said, spontaneous. I will try to update more, and if you watch this, please watch my future videos. Okay? Thank you. Bye.